I'm Tony from Bikeberry. I'd like to introduce you to Keegan Hache. He's a 13-year-old motorized bike builder from Canada. His first bike he built when he was 11 years old. Just like this video, he saw videos of motorized bikes on YouTube and he fell in love with the idea of building his own motorized bike. He's got a really unique way that he constructs them. Here's a little example of the panels that he makes and how he mimics brands of old. I'm excited to have this interview series because we're going to deep dive into the minds of the motorized bicycle world. There's so many great people that have jumped into the space and made it very different than it was in years past. So our goal here at Bikeberry is to elevate those who have forged new paths, made better products, just really shown their commitment and their desire to make this the best that it can be. I'd like for you to pay attention to Keegan and everything that he says, because the kid knows something. Before we watch the interview, I'd like you to know that we're giving away the SWITZ CRUZ bicycle at the end of the Build It Right series. So there's a few ways that you can enter. One way is like and comment on every video that we put out from today moving forward and subscribe to our channel. Another way is I'm going to put links below every description of our videos that you can enter your email and your phone number and we'll put you on our drawing list. The third way is to put Tony's VIP coupon code when you order something for our website. That'll get you 10% off of your order and it'll enter you in the drawing. So doing any of those things and all of those things will give you a better chance of winning the SWITZ CRUZ bicycle. So here's the interview with Keegan. We can all learn something from this kid.
Yeah.
Take two. Hey everyone.
It's okay. I got plenty of time, yo.
Hey everyone, this is my man Keegan. When I joined the Facebook group for Bikeberry, he was one of the first ones that I saw. Just his builds amazed me. I was pretty blown away by the detail and the level of work that he puts into his bicycles. Kind of a lot more than most who jump into the hobby. So hey Keegan, it's awesome to have you here. Thank you for joining me and working out, this whole process of interviewing. How you doing today, brother?
Pretty good, you?
I'm pretty good. It's cold here, so I had to start a fire. I had to start a fire early in my shop. Yeah. So Keegan is in Canada. His last name is Hache. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's French.
It's French, so he has a cool name and he lives in a cool area and it's cold.
It is so cold. I can't ride today.
Yeah. So he's been working on some new bikes. But what I want to do is I want to go back, Keegan, to really the beginning of your journey really with motorized bikes. Like you're just what, 13?
13, yep.
Yeah. So I have twin boys that are 13. And we've done a lot of projects, but they've never taken anything like this to the level you have. So as for a guy who builds stuff in my family, you blow me away, man. You really do.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
All right. So let's just start from the beginning. Like, how'd you start? What was step one for you?
Yeah. So where I started, basically, I was probably at the age of 10 years old and my birthday was coming up. And I was thinking to myself, at the time I only rode bicycles, right? And had a little CCM. I just drove around my neighborhood and I saw a lot of my friends had dirt bikes, four-wheelers, and I kind of felt left out, right? So I thought, I should get a dirt bike or four-wheeler. So then I looked at the price and I was like, heck no, I can't save up for that. So then anyways, I always been on YouTube, really enjoyed that platform. I used to upload a lot. I still do to this day. And I came across a video and I watch his channel all the time. His name is Project Farm, and he did a video on our two-stroke motorized bike kit's worth it. And I watched that video and I was really amazed at how they can make a motor so cheap that was somewhat reliable and that, I could afford. And just, I already had a mountain bike lying around and I was just really excited. And like I said, I started looking on Amazon, found a decent kit, looked for all the stuff that I wanted, a black motor. I wanted something that would fit in my frame. I was looking at four strokes and I said, well, you know what? A two-stroke is going to fit in a mountain bike frame better. Got the kit in the mail. It was a little surprise because my parents tricked me thinking it was, in a further place than what it really was. So it came early. And I
Oh,
got home, yeah, and I came home from school and I said, "What's sitting on the table?" And I opened the box and there's my engine, right? So then
wow.
looked at all the parts. I thought, wow, this looks very confusing. I was like, what the heck? The only thing I knew was like there was an engine and a chain. And
Yeah,
I
right.
started out not knowing anything, right? So then me and my dad just put the bike together. Like I said, it looked nothing like it does now. Now it's all custom. But when I first
Yeah,
started, it was just a basic mountain bike. And
yeah,
he did need to help me a lot because, like I said, I was only 11. But
yeah.
then as I progressed through the years, I start to learn more and more.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I love how they tricked you. So it got there early. So
Yeah.
you were like extra jazzed, right?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay, yeah. So you order an engine, you're like, whoa, this is something cool. I kind of felt left out. Other kids are riding four-wheelers and whatever.
Yeah.
But none of those have actually probably built any of what they're
No,
riding,
not very
right?
mechanically minded at all. As
Yeah,
far as that goes. They just know how to put gas in it. That's about it.
right, right. And yeah, and I was the same way when I was a kid. Like, oh no, I want to experience building the thing, then riding it, because it's more, to me, it's more fulfilling, just
Yeah.
personally. What
Because you
something,
feel like passion when you do
yeah,
it.
yeah, totally, totally. So, okay, so you said the first time that you saw one was you saw a Project Farm channel. That guy was
Yeah.
talking about it. Then did you do a deep dive on video content for a while?
Yeah, I looked through a lot of videos. I scrolled through many channels and, tried to learn as much as I could, as far as like LA Hover, Motored Life. I looked through other channels and started
Yeah,
learning the insides of the engine and just kind of went from there, honestly. Like, as far as research, like, you definitely got to know what you're doing because you could really screw something up when it comes to oil mix or something like that.
sure, sure. Yeah, and
So,
just the mechanical parts of it and everything.
yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, did you ever have to like chill out and stop looking at so much video content?
Yeah, it got a little too much when every time my parents would wake me up, I'm watching a motorized bike video on my TV, and they'd be
Right.
like, "All right, can you like chill out a little bit?" But yeah, I
Yeah.
still watch a little bit of content. But when I first started, it was ridiculous. Like the amount of videos that I would watch. Like it was from like day till night. I would watch motorized bike videos. And, yeah.
I think when you're learning something new, you have to dive deep,
Oh yeah,
right? And
for
hear
sure.
all the I think it's important to hear all the perspectives because you start understanding what is actually like, I guess, the truth about it, right? And
Yeah,
actually helpful versus what's not. And you really start to understand the hobby as a whole, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So it's good. So mechanical influences. You said your dad helped you figure this all out. So
yeah.
what mechanical influence did you have? What has he shown you?
So as far as my father, he's always messed with cars. He has a '69 Roadrunner and '84 Dodge Ram. He
Nice.
restored them himself and put it all together. And I helped him along the way when I was like 10 or 11. And I used to like help him paint stuff. I watched him weld.
Okay.
I just helped him do a lot of stuff. And he would teach me and how some of these mechanical parts work and all that fun stuff. So yeah, as far as him, yeah, he's definitely helped me a lot. Like putting the engine in the frame, like when I first set it in and I saw the bottom tube here was actually too big. And I thought, oh my God, it's not going to fit. Are we going to have to
Yeah.
return it or something? Because I didn't know much, right? He's like,
Right.
well, no, there's this U-bolt design that you put through and then you just lock it on the frame. And there's a lot of
Yep.
stuff that he had a perspective that I didn't. Like if I
Yep.
saw it on a YouTube video and this guy recommended this, well, he would teach me a different way of doing it because sometimes you like you said, you can't go off one person, you gotta have multiple influencers. And yeah, he's definitely the biggest one. Like I've watched a few videos, but he's definitely as far as like working on cars and going to car shows and all that stuff. Yeah, definitely him.
Yeah. So what I heard in that was real time problem solving,
Yeah.
right? Not looking at something that it either works or it doesn't. It's, oh, hey, this is the
Yeah.
problem we have. And yeah, it ain't what I thought it is, right? It's not what I thought it would be. But so what? Who cares? We just figure it out, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the same
That's how you
thing
get.
was with the chain tensioner. Like I
Yeah.
mounted it on and I said, what the heck? Like the way my frame was shaped, it kept going towards in the spokes.
Yeah.
And the solution was just to tighten the bolts more evenly. because my 11-year-old mind thought, oh, I'll just tighten one all the way and then tighten the other one all the way. And then it went like this. So yeah, it wasn't a good idea. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that makes sense. Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. So yeah, so balancing everything out. Yeah, learning that. That's awesome.
yeah.
So what is your first bike that you built?
Well, as you can see behind me, I have my Harley Davidson Sportster 80cc. And yeah, that's my first bike. Put it back, like I said, I put it together around September 2019, the beginning of the school year. And I've really fell in love with the bike. When I first started, like I said, mountain bike tires, I'm talking stock motor. And like I said, over the course of 2 years, putting exhaust on it, white walls, painted the wheels, rebuilt the engine a few times, like all that fun stuff. But yeah, definitely learned a lot from this bike, like a lot of troubleshooting, like a lot of that kind of stuff, like a lot of scary moments. I had a crash on it probably back a year ago. It's coming in the driveway and the pavement's here, the gravel's here. There's a transition going in a little too fast, put her down. But yeah, I've had a lot of memories with the bike, that's for sure.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Because that was a bike that you just had laying around, right?
Yeah, my brother's old bike. Like I said, he moved on, went to university, and these were just sitting in the shed. There was two of them, same frame. I said,
Yeah.
well, maybe I should take his old bike, and that way I don't have to buy a new one, right? He's not using it. He's got a car
Yeah.
now.
He's moved
So
on,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Wow. Okay, that's cool. So, okay, so one thing that intrigued me about you is, and a lot like myself, like aesthetics are really important to me. I'm
right.
not personally happy just bolting stuff on and calling it
Calling it a
good.
day.
Like I have an artistic mind, so I'm always like, I need it next level. And I feel like you've done that. Like you've made panels, you've done
Yeah,
graphic design, you've connected with people to make stickers. I mean, like you've taken it further than what most
most
people
people do.
would jump
Yeah,
in and pursue, right? Uh, all right, so I guess like because I look a lot at history, right?
right.
Like those who went before us, like 1910, 1920, man, all those eras, they're just like they're timelessly cool, right?
Yeah,
Like you could pick almost anything from that era and everybody'd be like, that's just cool, man.
it
Right?
is. Yeah, a lot of the
So it
bikes are different.
looks like you've done that. You pulled from brands that are historically been around a long time and have an
Yeah,
aesthetic style.
right.
What's your take on that? What's your mindset around that?
Yeah, so as far as designing the old bikes, like I said, the paint scheme, a lot of people ask, where do I get the paint scheme? How do you come up with the cool colors and stuff? And like I said, I search up a certain year of bikes, like you said, 1910, 1915, that kind of year. And like I said, I just scroll through the images and I start looking, I go, oh, most of the Harleys were orange and black. Oh, Indians were blue and red, like all that kind of stuff. And yeah, that's where I get the colors from. And just like I said, when you go from there, the paint scheme and the lettering, like a lot of the old Harley Davidsons, they have Harley up top. They have this little minus sign, and then they have Davidson. So that's where I
Mm.
get most of the sticker design from. And
Hmm.
then the Sportster 80cc. I mean, like I said, the new Sportster logo looks a lot different, but I chose for the older one just because I think it looked cooler. And as far as the Harley emblem, everybody knows the Harley emblem.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I get the, designs from, mostly Google Images, because
Yeah.
obviously not everybody has a 1920 Harley in their backyard. So,
No, they
yeah,
don't.
yeah, got to do some research to find out what the bikes look like back then. And then, like I said, a lot of older relatives, like my dad's friends, stuff like, oh, those look like that year bike. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I went for.
Oh, that's cool. They recognized it.
Yeah. They'll be like,
Yeah.
that looks like a Sportster. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Because I looked at it and made sure I did the research.
Yeah. Yeah. So does that drive the idea for a particular build, picking a particular model and then kind of deciding what you
Yeah.
like about that bike and then customizing it? Is that the
Yeah.
path?
Yeah. Basically, like, I try to figure out the brand and the color. Like, usually the color comes first because what I usually do is before I get the motor, I design the bike, right? Because the
Yeah.
last thing you want to do is have a bike that sat in a shed for 10 years, nothing was greased, nothing was pre-checked or anything. You throw a motor on it and it's death trap. So what
Yeah.
I like to do is just go through the bike, repaint it, make sure there's no rust. If there's any rust on any bolts, replace them, make it look nice, and then get the motor and then go from there.
That's good. Foundationally, get it running. That's what I've been really trying to
Yeah.
teach in the video content that I've been doing, right,
Oh
for the
yeah.
channel, is
Yeah.
like get that sucker foundationally sound, then you can, yeah, build on top of that. But I
Yeah.
like the aesthetics is driving your build project more than just going fast.
Oh, that's the thing. I get so many comments on the Facebook page, and I'm not trashing any of those people. Well, they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, it only goes 35 miles an hour," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know, because I'm not trying to die. I'm not trying to go 80 miles an hour. I'm trying to make it somewhat reliable because those guys that go 50, 60 miles an hour, they're replacing their top ends all the time, right?
Yeah,
Because of so
yeah,
much piston wear and you run so little oil, right?
that's true.
So,
Yeah, so that's a whole different game than people like us who just want to cruise around and have a
oh
reliable
yeah,
ride,
just have fun.
right?
That's the
Yeah,
main thing.
I would think building something fast would be like a specific bike that I had. That was that's its job, right?
Just go fast, race around, all that stuff.
Yeah. So I wouldn't ride it most of the time, but when you wanted to do the fast thing, if you chose to do that, that's how I would view it. And do
Yeah.
you have something like that in mind?
As far as fast builds for motorized bikes, I don't plan on going that fast, but if I ever do like build something like really custom, like I don't know if you probably heard me talk about a gas powered Power Wheels, that'd be really cool. I don't know if you ever
Uh-huh.
watched the channel, I think it's Grind Hard Plumbing Company. They have
Yeah.
really cool builds, and they have like a Barbie Jeep that goes 60 miles an hour, and it would be really sketchy, but it'd be really fun. Like going over sand dunes and stuff like that, driving on the beach, like it's insane what they do. And I feel like one day they're just gonna flip it, but still, like really cool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you. I hear you.
Gonna
So
stay
up
away
to
from it for now.
what'd you say?
I'm gonna stay away from that stuff for now. The big like
Yeah,
dirt
I'm
bike
kind of
engines and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. I'm with you. So how many up to this point? How many bikes have you built?
Okay, so first we have the Harley Davidson. The second bike is Indian Roadmaster. The third bike is my Hyper build. And the thing about the Hyper is it's kind of a weird bike because it started out that big bore engine. It started out in a black frame. I rode
Mm,
around for a bit, and then I had a blue frame, switched it to that, and then I got the Hyper, and then I switched the motor to that. So it's been on 3 frames, that motor. And
mhm.
then the fourth bike I just built like really recently is my Yamaha bike. I don't know the brand of the bike yet. I just know it's going to be Yamaha. I don't know like, R6, R1. I don't really know what it is going to be yet, but
Yeah,
I got a blue and orange color scheme, and I'm just going to kind of go from there. And
awesome.
yeah, so 4 bikes in total. I do have a fifth bike, which is a 4-stroke, but unfortunately, it just didn't work out. I wasn't really impressed by the power. It was just a used engine that a friend gave to me, and it's just a parts bike now. I really don't ride it at all, but yeah, I like the 2-stroke better. Way more simpler, faster, easy to work on, all that
Mm,
stuff.
yeah.
But yeah,
So what's that number total? How many bikes is that total? You rattled
so
a bunch off.
that's 4 motorized bikes,
All right. So
4 in
four. Yeah.
total.
So within a couple of years, you built four.
Yeah,
Solid. Yeah. And the Yamaha's pretty much new. Like we've been talking about it over the last month or so. So
yeah. And the
no,
thing
it's
about this bike is that the Indian and Harley, I've repainted twice. So like I
oh,
painted the Harley back in when I first started, and I recently painted this summer. And I just do it to keep the look of the bike up. And like I said, it's only spray paint, right? So you got to redo it every once in a while. So
yeah.
really, like I've built 4 bikes, but I've taken apart 2 of them. So in total, it's technically 4, but it's more like 6.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I was thinking that.
yeah, sure.
That's cool. So, okay, let's talk paint schemes a little bit. Now we talked about influence and, color choices and all that.
Yep.
It's cool because those panels that are behind you, they're outlined in orange. Is the black
Yeah.
paint or is that something else? How's that work?
Okay, so I get a lot of questions about my body panels on my bikes, and the basic design of at least the Harley panels is what I do is I get sheet metal from Home Hardware. It's a hardware store in our area. I
Yeah.
buy some. I don't know. I don't remember the thickness. I think it's like, oh my gosh, it's only a millimeter or so. And
Yeah.
basically I just cut the basic shape of the panel out. Like I said, we always draw it out, make sure we get the measurements before. And then it's a matter of just drilling the holes in the frame and just getting some self-tapper 8mm screws, driving those into the frame. And then basically what I do after that is once I get it mounted on, I'm confident it's going to stay on there. It looks decent. I'll take it back off. I'll sand because it only has like black powder coat on it. I'll sand that down to bare metal, degrease it. And then what I did is I painted it orange underneath, right? Got the whole panel orange. And then what I did is I bought some black vinyl from the same sticker place. And then I just cut that out, applied it to the orange body panel, made sure there was no bubbles in it. And the reason I do that is because if I ever have to replace these stickers, which I most likely will, when you peel that off, most likely the paint sometimes can chip off or anything like that. So what I did is when I put the vinyl behind it, it allowed me to replace it without ruining it. So that's kind of the design behind that.
Wow, that's okay. So you were thinking of like wear and tear, future wear and tear, and then to keep things fresh looking. You said I paint things a lot because I want it to keep it up, and it's spray paint, so
stuff.
yeah, and it's fun to paint stuff. But that's really smart because having vinyl behind it adds as a backer that you could just peel another sticker right off, but it stays really well for as long as you want it to, right?
Yeah.
Ah, that's cool. That's cool. So sheet metal panels, paint them the base color, add a sticker on top of it, and then your decal stickers on. Yeah, decal stickers on top of that. That's awesome. So, okay, what gives you the vision to put the different panels where you have?
Yeah, so
locations.
As far as like panel position on this bike, I just kind of did it simple. I just want for this bike, like I said, the chain guard's here, so it is different on the other side. But most likely what I'll do for a back panel is just make sure I cover the seat stay, make sure I cover the seat pole, and just kind of curve it from there. That's the basic design that most of my bikes run. But for example, the Indian Roadmaster, what I wanted to do for that build is make sure that I cover most of the engine, so it kind of looks stealth, right? So what I did is on my other build, I still mounted on here and I still made sure I covered the chain guard. But what I did is I curved it around the carburetor and the clutch arm. And what that allowed me to do is allowed it to be more stealth and just kind of make the flow of the bike a little bit better. So yeah, basically I just cut a piece out on the body panel so it fits over the clutch arm and cut a piece out so it curves around the carburetor. And then for the front of the panel, you can see the head's right here, the motor. So you think, how would I cover that? Well, it's the same technique. You just come down further on the down tube and then curve it around the head. So that way you can still work on the bike, but it still gives it that look that I'm going for.
Man, that's a lot of detailed thinking, my man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. And that's probably a lot of just thought time, right? Like, and then trial and error testing, looking at wrapping sheet metal around and kind of looking at it, right? No, that's amazing. So what's your favorite part of your projects? Like, is there one thing that stands out to you or what?
Yeah. As far as my favorite part of building a motorized bike, like I build a lot of different things, but as far as the motorized bikes go, it's once you unbox the engine, you got your parts laid out, right? And as soon like you put the rear sprocket on, it still looks like a bicycle. You put the tank on, it still looks like a bicycle. When you drop the engine into the frame, that's when it turns into a motorized bike. And when I drop the engine on, I'm just like, man, this thing looks sweet. Like as far as like putting it in, mounting everything up, and like, wow, this thing's gonna be cool. But yeah, that's my favorite part, putting the engine in, honestly.
I think you're right. I never even caught that for myself, but it's like even the SWITZ CRUZ back here that I've been building, right? It was cool doing all the other stuff, but as soon as I mounted the engine in there and you see the head and all that, like, okay, now things are starting to get serious, like that's when it looks cool. That's awesome. Yeah. And then of course you just nerd out on everything after that, probably like I do, like all the detail stuff. Yeah. That's awesome. So I know you said the Yamaha is your current project, right? And then I think you kind of went into maybe some future ones, but so current project, the Yamaha, what future builds do you have in mind right now? Anything?
Besides the Power Wheels, I was thinking when I turn like 16, I buy a first car. As far as that goes, I'm probably not going to do much to it because you know how everybody's first car is just kind of something you drive for a couple years and then you just kind of say, once it breaks, you're done. But
Yeah.
what I want to do, like way in the future when I'm 20, 25, something like that, is take after my dad and actually restore an old like Dodge Charger or a Plymouth Roadrunner or something like that, like a B-body Dodge, and
Mm-hmm.
just restore an old muscle car. Because going to the car shows, you see all these cool, like V8 muscle cars, and you go, oh my gosh, I want to build one of those someday, or even a truck, just something of a muscle car, like really like 1960s, 70s era, when everything wasn't about missions, everything was simpler, easier to work on. But yeah, just
Yep.
classic muscle cars, basically.
Okay. Okay. And then you could, so if you got a truck, you could fill the whole back end with motorized bikes.
So true. We went to a motorcycle show, and I threw the Indian Harley in there, and we drove it down to the Honda dealership because that's where they had it, and everybody
Mhm.
was really impressed with the motorized bikes for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Because
pretty cool.
was there any other ones there? Or was it just
Nope,
motorcycle?
just
No.
motorcycles.
Yeah. That was cool. I bet they're impressed. No, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
they were. They were. It was really cool to, well, one, because with the COVID and stuff, you can't go see any bikes or cars anymore for the,
Yeah.
car shows and stuff. But then, like I said, like everybody else does, they compliment me and I compliment them back. And just seeing motorcycles in general makes me happy.
Yeah. No, that's impressive. So I think one of the future things I would like to do with you and just kind of see what your thoughts are is maybe do some lives in our Facebook group of
Yeah, that'd be
actually
cool.
going through the process a little more detailed and making the panels and kind of the specialty things that you do.
Oh yeah.
Would that be cool?
Yeah, that'd be really awesome. Like I said, I went ahead and picked up some sheet steel for the Yamaha build I'm currently building. And I got
Yeah.
the tank cover, I got the fairing, but I haven't made the back panels yet. So I thought for the live, it'd be really good to kind of show you how I use the vinyl in certain ways and where I drill the holes and what to look out for. Like, for example, this rack here, it goes behind the panel and it curves it out. So that's why I chose it, because it makes it look 3D. Like certain stuff like that I like to show people on a live. So that'd be cool.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to do that. So anybody watching this, you'll have to go. We'll end up doing that in the future. But if you're seeing this video and it's been a little while, just go on our Facebook group and search in the videos, and you'll see his live in there. So
Yeah.
but we haven't done it yet. So well, man, Keegan, thank you so much. I feel like we could talk all day on everything, but I think we probably better get to building, right?
For sure, for sure.
Yeah. Is there anything you want to say before we finish out?
Not much. It's great to be on here, to get my name out there. I do have a YouTube channel if you do want to check that out. It's just Keegan Hache In, and I just post motorized bike content. I post, engine, like how to check your engine before you install it. Similar to what Tony videos do, but obviously his is a little bit better edited. But yeah, as far as that goes, I mean, check out the channel. See more of this.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Keegan. I appreciate you so much, man. I'm looking forward to all the future builds. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. See you, Tony.